spring rains had softened the ground, so Dunk had no trouble digging the grave. He chose a spot on the western slope of a low hill, for the old man had always loved to watch the sunset. "Another day," he would sigh, "and who knows what the morrow will bring us, Dunk?" Well, one morrow had brought rains that soaked them to the bones, and the one after had brought wet, gusty winds, and the next a chill. By the fourth day the old man was too weak to ride, and now he was gone. Only a few days past he had been singing as they rode the old song about going to Gulltown to see a fair maid. But instead of Gulltown he'd sung of Ashford. Off to Ashford to see the fair maid. Hey ho, Dunk thought miserably as he dug. When the hole was deep enough, he lifted the old man's body in his arms and carried him there. He had been a small man and slim. Stripped of hauberk, helm, and sword belt, he seemed to weigh no more than a bag of leaves. Dunk was hugely tall for his age, a shambling, shaggy, big-boned boy of 16 or 17 years, no one was quite certain which, who stood closer to 7 feet than to 6, and had only just begun to fill out his frame. The old man had often praised his strength. He had always been generous in his praise. It was all he had to give. He laid him out in the bottom of the grave, and stood over him for a time. The smell of rain was in the air again, and he knew he ought to fill the hole before it broke. But it was hard to throw dirt down on that old, tired face. There ought to be a septum here, to say some prayers over him, but he only has me. The old man had taught Dunk all he knew of swords and shields and lances, but he had never been much good at teaching him words. "I'd leave you a sword, but it would rust in the ground," he said at last, apologetic. "The sword, the gods will give you a new one, I guess. I wish you didn't die, sir." He paused, uncertain what else needed to be said. He didn't know any prayers, not all the way through. The old man had never been much for praying. "You were a true knight, and you never beat me when I didn't deserve it," he finally managed. "Except that one time and maiden pool. It was the inn boy who ate the widow's woman's pie, not me, I told you. It don't matter now. The gods keep you good, sir." He kicked dirt in the hole, then began to fill it methodically, never looking at the thing at the bottom. He had a long life, Dunk thought. He must have been closer to 60 than 50, and how many men can say that? At least he had lived to see another spring.